Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Brandon, and today we're going to be going over Chapter 3 of Awaken the Immortal Within by Jason Breshears. I know it's been a little bit, but I have some stuff lined up now, and I'll be making many more videos. So let's get right into this one. This chapter is titled Defining One's Path. And this is Jason speaking. I know who I am and understand my place as I journey through this little corner of existence. As author of www.archaics.com, it is important that you know I am no holier-than-thou type, no pompous moron stuck up with learning. I'm a good old boy who just happens to have a strange gift for memorizing things that interest me. At 40 years old, I was awakened. With the veil torn away, I was made to see with clarity that everything I had studied for years had a focus, a direction. That the religious programming that had me stuck over and over again was a spiritual poison camouflaged as freedom. A programming of absolute genius, to mask a dungeon with illusory trappings and then blame its inmates for its existence. I am comfortable with who I am, an admixture of good and evil, a divided soul ever analyzing its other half, suspended between the holy and profane. A moralist, yes, but I still retain a capacity for wickedness. A well-known human trait that I recognize and admit to. One can use it for good. It is this ever-influencing of opposite attractions that builds character. Our personas molded by our constant decisions. If you want to fully understand the nature of reality and how we create circumstances governing our lives, if you want to know the precise mental formula you need in order to change the conditions of your life, then you are no different than I was not long ago. Your search ends here. Exhaustive research in comparative religions, old and new, in occult and magical systems, in philosophical systems, Oriental and Occidental, and in stringent analysis of multidisciplinary scientific experimentation of all things perceivable, has forced upon us the demonstrable fact that reality is not real at all, that the physical is but a figment of the collective imagination, that all things phenomenal are but phantasms of a hive psyche. It has for over a century been known to science that the magnification of any solid material object reveals great distances of nothingness between objects like electrons and nuclei, and that electrons orbit far away from their nucleic host and can change from waveforms to solid phenomena when observed. A physical object is distinguished from another only by the number of orbiting electrons. These atomic distances microscopically mirror their macroscopic counterparts. Earth as an electron is 93 million miles away from its nucleic soul, and in the space between is nothing. Our Sun is 4.2 light years from the closest stellar system, Alpha Centauri Proxima. The distances between tiny nuclei are comparable to stars, but when a nucleus is magnified enough, we finally reach the foundation of physicality, an oscillating field. Pure energy with no physical property. Inside all material objects is more empty space than a solid, and the core solid nuclei are in essence the minuscule entanglements of suspended energy. The world of existence is a property of perception. To believe we are physical beings in a material medium is tantamount to describing a breeze passing through a fog. From of old there are whispers, hidden teachings born from east to west, a secret ever known to but a few. The world is a complex construct, a prison of physicality designed to confine souls in an aura of sense perception so perfectly fashioned as to deceive the imprisoned spirit. A dungeon realm of the demiurge is this holosphere. Immortal beings in quarantine by an enemy in a prison of unknown origin designed to make its captives believe that they are part of the creation when they have actually been cut off. Held in place by a powerful, diabolical mind. Its victims immortal, they cannot be killed. So this demiurge, the god of this world of sense perception, a creation of his own design, invented a way to deceive eternal beings into believing they were mortal, that in living they now had to fear death. This entity is not omnipotent. It is not a creator but a manipulator. A human soul awakens, perceives the holospheric illusions for what they are, and then creates one's own interference patterns, freed from the confines of ignorance. Thus the man is no longer a marionette. This sinister mind, the enemy, has no more power over the freed individual, who then writes their own destiny. Immersed in this thought medium, the living souls are asleep. But one who awakens knows the holosphere for what it is, a mirror. This spirit projects his will, modifies the medium to conform to his wants, and thus changes reality. He is a creator whom the destroyer no longer deceives. We think in terms of gender and genera, polarizing everything passing through our sense range. The acute mind knows that discoveries are not made by seeking similarities. We are prone to draw conclusions from the recognition of correlates. In this way, we search the surface of phenomena without seeing its depth. To truly learn about a thing is to identify its distinctions, isolate disparities, and see why it is dissimilar. Unfortunately, both methods of analysis merely reinforce the holospheric matrix that deceives us into believing its distinctions between things and concepts that really don't exist. Anything we accept as true in essence becomes a trap, a model of confinement. One who looks at the world from inside this model can only interpret data through his sphere of belief objectivity, which is impossible from within a believed worldview. The observer is trapped in subjective analysis, though he believes he is objective. A man inside a bubble thinks his vision is clear, though he must view things through this film, a watery lens that reflects back some light but distorts reflections due to its spheric curvature. The man is oblivious of his prison. The outside world only partially influences him because the bubble reflects away data and phenomena he would have ordinarily perceived from a different vantage point. The reality matrix is sufficiently complex enough to induce us to believe in it. The demon chaser finds demons, the dowser discovers water, the religionist sees reasons everywhere that give proof to his faith, as the witch who knows she miscast her spell then suffers for it. The astronomer ever discovers more distant galaxies to replace prior universal boundaries first known only in theory. And the UFO researcher finds proof of extraterrestrials in testimonies, in video, on film, in ancient art, texts, and even biblical imagery. Both the heliocentrist and the flat earther can separately provide evidence that our world is either a globe hurling through space or a flat plane covered by a dome, neither aware that they are both as equally right as they are wrong. Immersed within this hollow field, this deceptive medium continually reflects back as evidence those projections sent into it. Wherever there are people to believe in something, the holosphere will provide evidence of its existence. Seek and ye shall find is a trap. Philosophies, faiths, and conclusions of science are all supported by evidence, proofs, and convictions, but all are in opposition to one another. Reality is then a misnomer, disguised as duality. Existence is a confluence of realities in myriads of superimposed minds, a multiplicity of surveyors observing architecture of their own collective construction. Only in a hologram can contrary realities coexist without contact. Remember this fact: the architecture of our reality frames means to fictions just as much as facts. We are more than we suppose ourselves to be. Gods and goddesses in the making, oppressed in a world we live within, but it is not our true home. The power to change reality, to create new circumstances in our lives, is the greatest secret this prison realm seeks to obscure. We have the power to draw from ourselves more than we contain. Do you know how? We are a species in love with our illusions, deigning to admit realities that only exist within ourselves. Physics calculations have long shown us the mathematical echoes of a higher dimension beyond our holosphere, but these same models blind us to the holospheric nature of reality. As intellectual subroutines embedded into a complex interactive program, a data cloud, we humans do not have the sensorial apparatus necessary to perceive the actual unreality of our existence. It is with great difficulty for subjective sentience to objectively analyze an environment that it is suspended within. We are malleable software immersed into a vastly more intricate programmed illusion. Unable to distinguish the real from the imagined, the imaginary becomes real to us. What we accept as true becomes one with our programming, and all facts and phenomenon experienced afterwards tends to reinforce what we have accepted as true. It is with the greatest difficulty for us to break away, to question or disbelieve something that we formerly held as true. With religion, it is devastating. Belief in any religion reinforces the hold of the prison matrix. We are also trapped by faith in any science or discovery as absolutes, trust in human institutions, or the thought of racial disparities or national differences. They all serve to strengthen the believability of the holospheric programs modified anciently by a wicked mind, but now reinforced moment by moment by the billions of people trapped in the persuasive reality matrix. Once we are programmed to believe in any faith, especially a religious one, all information through sense perception is filtered through a worldview that supports the religious model. A disturbing fact of the religionist mindset tends to regard persons of variant belief systems to be no longer viewed as individuals, but rather as lesser parts of their environment, less real, heathens, or simply inhuman. All too often, peaceful religionists turned homicidal fanatics have justified murder as a holy right. The stunning achievement of one who recognizes his own programming flaws finds that it is in disbelieving what he formerly held as true now affects many other areas of his worldview. Absolutes now blur into uncertainties. His belief had fundamentally altered the way he processed information, and the holosphere modified what it brought in contact with him because it only reflects what is projected into it. Reality reinforces belief no matter if the programming is right or wrong. This is why so few who are devout religionists have ever broken free of their thought model. To the faithful, to doubt is to backslide. Their belief is a moral issue with walls built around change or the idea of fear. The fears of apostasy, heresy, and independent thought of any kind looms over them, silently menacing their inner lives, whether they are conscious of it or not. Their program has become a trap, but to resist it is to threaten their very afterlife. To disbelieve formally accepted religious programming is to shake the very foundations of a person's psyche. That's the end of chapter 3. I just wanted to say, guys, for those of you who subscribe and watch what I put out, I have intentions to put a lot of stuff out, to read a lot of books, to give some ideas on certain beliefs I have. Awaken the Immortal Within by Jason, I think it's a great book. There was a time where I was really buying into the ideas that Jason had put out through Archaics, that we're in a prison planet, and the Gnostic idea of this demiurge disguised as the god Yahweh of the Christian Old Testament, or Yahweh. But recently, I started to see things a little differently, I guess, because I held those ideas. I sort of found myself developing a nihilistic worldview. And what I saw was that the world around me, just kind of as we just read in the book, shaped itself in that nihilistic form. So the idea of the as within, so without, for me to see us as being locked into a prison planet, not having a reason as to why, just didn't sit right with me. And it kind of turned me into somebody that I didn't want to be anymore. And recently, I've been going through the process of getting that negativity out. And I've taken on the idea of, we chose to come into this place. It is very short, right? The lives that we live here are short. They're temporary. We know that they're temporary, and we have all the power. If I take on ways of positivity and see things a certain way, things begin to change in my world. And I'll go over that in other videos. Obviously, this was a reading of a chapter for an Archaics book. But yeah, that's sort of what I want to talk about. I think that for each one of us, you listening to this video to individualize and to put your own stuff out there, even if it's just you talking like I'm doing now, is what we should be doing. If we stick to just this, let's live our lives as a collective human, I don't think you're gonna grow in the way that you wish to. So, getting back to what I was saying, I don't see things in the way that Jason describes in this book totally anymore. But because I respect what he's done and what he's put out, and just the time that's gone into everything and where I used to be, out of that respect, I want to finish this book, reading all of his books, and I'll be reading lots of other things too, so stay tuned. Thank you for being with me. I really appreciate your support. It means a lot to me, and stay tuned for a whole lot more. We'll talk, we'll discuss things, and I'll respond to your comments and whatever else, okay? Thank you.